went for noon game. Cubs are back in Chicago this time on the road. 3 games against Chicago White Sox. It's one of those series that no matter who's having the better year, it's like all the records are out the window and you just never know what's going to happen. September baseball can be unpredictable. We had Quintana on the mound. He's looked a lot better last month, but over throughout the course of the year, sometimes things can escalate quickly. He can be the victim of a 3-run homer, and that's kind of what set the tone early. Cubs did get the first lead. Murphy hit a solo homer, 1-0. That was pretty exciting to see. I was surprised to hear that Murphy never hit a leadoff home run. I know he's not the leadoff hitter a lot uh, before coming into Chicago, but that was a good sign. And second inning, things got really ugly. Quintana gives up a 3-run homer. They get 5 hits in a row against us. We were lucky to get out of that inning down 3-1. And then fourth inning, Quintana gives up another run. At that point, you're just hoping things don't get too far out of hand. Can Quintana maybe eat up another inning or two scoreless? He made it into the 6th inning, and I believe he got one out and gave up a single, and Madden took him out, trying to keep it somewhat close, only down 4-1 at that point. Dylan Maples did better with the last 2 outings. He's a guy kind of common with a lot of minor league call-ups that they look good at AAA, and then they just can't get it done at the big league level too. I mean, some go through a learning curve. This is the second part-time year for Dylan Maples. We know he can throw 100 miles per hour, but you have to have good location. You have to have a lot of skills in the major leagues that you don't get away with in the minors that you can. And unfortunately, Dylan Maples gave up a 2-run homer, so things are getting out of control. We're down 6-1 in the 6th inning. We're waiting for our bats to heat up, and for some reason, this Lopez, his ERA was over 4. Being on the south side, I don't watch a lot of their games too, but he pitched to Jim. He ended up going 7 innings, struck out 8, no walks, and it's frustrating. I wasn't viewing this as a guaranteed win, but I thought it would be a pretty competitive game, and we get to their bullpen. But Quintana had the worst game, and Cubs hitters struggle definitely facing Lopez, so that was very disappointing. Then things got kind of ugly with their bullpen. Rosario gave up 3 runs. Garcia came in and got 3 outs. He did well. Norwood, he gave up a sacrifice fly that got an RBI in, but got 2 outs. Wasn't charged for any runs. Dunston came in, had a scoreless ninth, gave up a couple hits, got help with the double play, but I mean, we gave up 10 runs overall, and we didn't make any errors, so it's just home runs, and I think White Sox had like 19. It was the most hits against us, so it's pretty poor pitching day. Just killed us. Our bats did one, later in the 8th inning. Kind of made it interesting. We got it to Murphy scored on a wild pitch, and then Bodie had another clutch RBI, 2 RBIs on a single, scored 2 guys from second and third, 10-4. Still had 2 outs in the 8th, and Schwarber was coming up, and then I think Sobers walked, so there was 2 guys on. I was like kind of hoping Schwarber would hit a 3-run homer, and then it's 10-7 in the 8th, and who knows what can happen within reaching distance just like that from down 10-1. Never know. But struck out, or no, I think popped out or whatever, but so we're down 10-1 going to the 9th. Dunston too, he got through the 9th, and we didn't get a whole lot going in the 9th inning for us. So yeah, rough day. Not the way you want to start off, especially after a day off, so I guess we can't use the extra day rest. There was some bad news that happened overnight, where Addison Russell's ex-wife wrote a blog very critical of how her marriage was and the physical and emotional abuse and all that. I know we read online or read in social media where she left him, they got separated, and then they went through a divorce. We heard Addison Russell, he's got a new girlfriend. I think he got her pregnant or he's going to have another child. I don't know. But, uh, I understand, a lot of times it's been for years that women are afraid to speak up or they don't know, how to handle a situation. They don't get the authorities involved or things of that nature. And then it gets reported later. I guess kind of the sign of times today that you just go on social media and just or write a blog and goes to the whole world. I guess eventually we find out about it if you go to police or MLB. Uh, too, when you're dealing with an athlete, it all becomes public information. It's very unfortunate. I don't know what to think of it. On one hand, police haven't been involved. Uh, this kind of came out public a year ago, and some say it got swept under the rug. But it's my understanding when MLB reached out to speak to Addison Russell's ex-wife that she didn't really cooperate or speak with them, and then there wasn't a whole lot they can do. Uh, Today decision, and it wasn't a Cubs decision, it was an MLB decision, is they suspended Addison Russell indefinitely. And so, there could be a good chance that we never see Addison Russell again. As far as contract wise, like, you don't lose out any more money than this year. He has 3 years of contract or what they call team control, where you can negotiate his arbitration salary every year. He has 3 more years of that before he's an official free agent. So, I mean, Cubs, even without this, they could have moved on and they wouldn't owe him a salary in the 2019 or into the future. It's kind of unfortunate that, too, I was kind of hoping that maybe they would trade him for a pitcher or something like that. And that could still happen. But right now, it's outside of Theo's hands and Brickett's hands as far as the suspension. They're going to investigate. So it'd be kind of cool to see what the facts are. Maybe Addison, reading some of the things too, Theo, when they came out a year ago about the allegations that Addison Russell denied it to Theo. They were asked. Otherwise, Theo and the Cubs front office would have done something, would have suspended Russell or some type of discipline. And so there was no discipline last year because of, it was her social media complaint, but she never talked to MLB, is my understanding. So now I think MLB is going to try to reach out to her, maybe reach out to some of the witnesses, interview Addison Russell. Are there some friends or family that can vouch for him? We'll see. You wouldn't think women can lie about this stuff, but sometimes it does happen. So I like to be fair, get all the facts. But Addison Russell's reputation is ruined one way or another. It's unfortunate. As far as baseball, the last 2 years, he hasn't gave us a whole lot. Early on, his defensive WAR was pretty good. We're just not getting a whole lot out of him as a hitter. He was banged up, injured, playing through some things, and he went on the DL. September, I think before his one hit yesterday, he was hitting like 161 in the month of September and only like a 212 on base percentage and no extra base hits, only singles, the very few he got, like only 2 RBIs. So we weren't getting a whole lot out of him. I mean, you would hope he turns it around. He's a first-round draft pick. Had a great minor league career. 2 years ago in 2016, he had 95 RBIs and 21 homers, but we haven't seen that power or the clutch RBI, runners in scoring position type of hits since then. So, but you hate to lose that type of talent. You like to get maybe a trade value, but it is what it is. So right now, Cubs just have to wait out the investigation, and then they decide, if they're going to suspend him or nothing happens. One thing the Cubs could do, they could decide just to release him and DFA him, and I think they would just have to pay him out his remaining salary for this year. It's MLB guaranteed contracts, they call it. Uh, but then they can move on next year. But uh, to me, no matter what happens, he gets suspended for a little bit. Two other teams are going to be interested in having him. Maybe a change of location would be good. If he is guilty of this, hopefully he can learn from it. Maybe needs counseling. I don't know. Uh, I don't know. I'm not a marriage counselor. Seems like he rushes into relationships quick. I know she was kind of young. Addison's not very old himself. Young people do a lot of stupid things and then they learn from it. Uh, I know it's understanding he's either has or he's going to have a third child with a third different mother. That's a lot going on. And being a baseball player, it's not really ideal for a marriage. You're living in a suitcase half the year, too. And then, these guys that make a lot of money, there's a lot of temptation as well. I'm not saying it's right. It's just kind of the reality. So, but I don't know what the facts are in Addison right now. It's kind of a he said, she said. A lot of people are quick to judge, too, that Addison's the worst person in the world. I mean, it's pretty bad if what she's saying is true. But we know, he hasn't been arrested. Police haven't been called. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. It's just a messed up situation. One thing I don't like is the president that someone can just get on social media and then they suspend somebody. It's like you're guilty till you're innocent, but it's a new like domestic policy. It's just, there could be some false things out there, especially people have a sick mind. And they're like, oh, this guy plays for the Cardinals. We don't like the Cardinals, so let's get this guy in trouble. That may be a stretch, but you just have to be careful. People do get wrongly accused. Athletes, they're in a situation, like Addison. He's making $3 million this year. I mean, some women are going to like him just for that, and then. If he's doing other things, who knows? I'm just throwing things out there, but very unfortunate. But he's not together with the ex-wife. They moved on to whatever happened. Hopefully they can get through the past. I know they do have a son together that they have to figure out to co-parent. But it's just a weird situation. I don't know if that affected the Cubs today. Not having Addison in the lineup doesn't really change a whole lot offensively. In fact, I think they probably get better without Addison because you can play Murphy and Baez. And Bodie seems to be getting back on track. Those three guys playing second, short, and third give you a pretty good lineup. And you got Hayward that's worked his way back. We have enough hitters, but we got the hitting going late. We struggle against a starter, unfortunately, other than that solo home run. And then we scored 3 runs after the starter left, but it's a little bit too late. Quintana, he'll have one more start before the regular season ends. Hopefully we see a better Quintana next time around. And I know kind of the plan is that he was going to be the number 4 pitcher, and he'd probably only see the the order twice, and then third time through the order, that might be the 5th inning, he'd be out of the game unless things are going really well, like we're up 7-2 or something like that. But playoff baseball is a little bit different, where you have more days off. You can rely on the bullpen more. Hopefully Cubs don't continue to have games like today. Pitching was great for a long stretch. Last 2 games, Hamels laid an egg. And then today, Quintana didn't make it out of the 6th inning, and then the bullpen did not get better. So we used a lot of bullpen guys. We did save like Cizek and, Edwards, if you want to count as one of the best. He's got to kind of work his way up. But like Cizek and Chavez, are 2 of the better ones. We don't have Strop. He's trying to make it back. 2 games left of the year. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. I hope it'll be nice. But it is what it is. Some good news. A lot of people are real negative with the Cubs' loss. Baseball's random. It can happen. White Sox beat a good team in extra innings yesterday. I can't remember who it was. So sometimes a game, I don't know. It's weird. September call-ups, other guys step up. We've seen it with Arizona. They had like a makeshift lineup and they hit 3 home runs by unexpected guys against us. So, well, we have Leicester tomorrow, night game at 6. See if Leicester can rally the troops. See if he can be our ace. We could use a good starting performance, and he may be the guy to do it, get it done. And seen some good hits late by the Cubs hitters, so I think the hitting can be there. And we can get back on track. Some other good news is last I seen, Brewers were getting beat by the Pirates 3-1. One thing, this guy was saying that Cubs have a harder schedule than the Brewers. Don't agree. Maybe the only disadvantage is we don't have another day off. Now we have 9 more games, and Brewers have 1 day off on Thursday. But Brewers play 6 road games where they're playing the Pirates, and the Pirates seem to have their numbers, and they got to play them on the road. And they're losing 3-1 today already. And then they got to play the Cardinals 3 games on the road. So that's not easy. Cubs play those same 2 teams, but we have them at home. We're a lot better at home. And then Brewers finish up with Detroit. And Detroit's having a bad year, but you never know. They beat Cardinals 2 out of 3. And, it is what it is. They play a bad team, Detroit. We're playing supposedly a bad team, the White Sox. So it seems pretty fair. I mean, I think essentially we may have an advantage. Plus, with an extra game, that's to get caught up. We still played 1 less game than the Brewers. If we don't have any rainouts, we'll be caught up after Thursday's game, and that will give us an idea where we're at. To be tied with the Brewers, we'd have to lose 3 more games than them. So if Brewers don't win today, then we're looking at 8 games left for them and 9 games left for us. And you start kind of figuring out the math. If they go 8-0 and we went 6-3, we'd be tied or something like that. And I doubt they're going to go 8-0. And so Cubs probably have a better chance to go 6-3, but we'll see. Them going 5-4, that may be good enough. And we should make the playoffs regarding, I think we just have to be ahead of Colorado right now to at least get the second wild card seed. Wouldn't be ideal, especially with their lack of rest and all this as is, but it would get you in the playoffs. You never know. Wild card teams have won the World Series before. It's kind of weird, if Cubs hold on and have the number 1 seed, if they have enough, like they might only be looking at like 93, 94 wins. That tells you kind of the kind of year in the NL too, and they're going to have a lot of teams at like high 80, low 90 wins. Where the AL, they're going to have multiple 100 team wins. You have the Yankees that they may win over 100, or maybe they may fall short, but they're going to be a wild card team because Red Sox are doing so well, and then Oakland's doing well, Cleveland's doing well. So it's kind of wide open in the NL. Whoever catches fire could win it. If Cubs can win the division, chances are they play Milwaukee after they win the wild card, assuming they beat the Cardinals or whoever. Although Brewers kind of had our number lately, Cubs would have the advantage because Brewers would have to not pitch their ace. They'd have less rest. We'd have more rest and could have things kind of lined up, or pitching order and everything. So, but you got to play the game. It's going to be interesting down the stretch. And we'll do this tomorrow at 6 p.m. Go Cubs, go.